You are listening to the Loida Lewis podcast, hosted by Loida Nicolas Lewis. She's a trailblazing businesswoman, leader, philanthropist, and the widow of Reginald F. Lewis, the visionary leader who was the first African American to build a billion-dollar company. With unparalleled determination, Loida Lewis has not only excelled as a successful attorney, but also shaped a billion-dollar empire. Following the untimely passing of her husband, Reginald F. Lewis, she took the helm of TLC Beatrice, carving her legacy as a successful business leader. Be inspired and learn from her as she shares her wisdom, the secrets to her success in both business, in love, and in life. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn. With your host, Miss Loida Lewis.
Welcome to the Loida Lewis podcast. Live, love, laugh, and learn with me. And today I have a special guest. She broke history because she is the first black woman model to grace the big all-white Vogue magazine. And this is Beverly Johnson. Welcome, Beverly.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, that's the first thing I'd like to ask.
Yes.
How did you break into Vogue in 1974 when all the time, in all its years, only white women,
Yes.
blonde, has been the cover?
Yes, it's very interesting because I was working for Vogue on the inside pages, and I never really knew there hadn't been a woman of color on the cover. It wasn't until I was on the cover that I was told that I was the first black woman on the cover. So that was a surprise, but they keep things like that a secret, I guess.
No, it's good that in your mind, you didn't see black, white. You said, I want to be covered on Vogue. So when did you have that intention?
So when I got into the business, the modeling business, I just have to know everything about the business. I research, and I'm a very curious person. So when I found out that you needed the American Vogue cover to be the top person in that field, then my sights were set on getting that cover.
So were you represented by an agency?
Yes. I was represented by Eileen Ford, who was the biggest agent maybe in the world at that time. And it was she that told me when I had a meeting with her, which I did from time to time, about maybe a beauty book or a kind of cosmetic contract that I would want to go after. And at this particular meeting, I said that I wanted to get an American Vogue cover. And she was the one that told me that I'll never be on the cover of American Vogue.
What?
And, I didn't know to ask her why not. I just knew I wasn't going to get the cover with her.
She will not put you.
Well, what she knew was that there were no women of color on the cover. And in her mind, she was just really telling me the facts. That you're never going to be on the cover because of the color of your skin. But she didn't say that. She just said, you'll never be on the cover of American Vogue. And because of the woman she was the first woman I saw really wield power. She really wielded power. And I used to go up to the office and just watch her, like on the phone and, telling people, you'll never get my models again. She was just really a businesswoman. So when she said that to me, I knew she meant it. And that's why I changed agencies.
You changed agency.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes.
Good for you. So how did you, tell us.
So
when she told that to you, you said, I'll go to somebody else.
Yes. Well, what I did was I wrote her a letter, her and Jerry, they were a husband and wife team, how I wanted to thank them for being like parents to me. In the industry, and I hope that if I ever decided to come back, I hope that they would welcome me back.
That's very gracious.
Yes. And I went to Wilhelmina, who was one of Eileen Ford's models, who opened up her own modeling agency. So there was a whole thing with that. And she was just a dynamic woman. She was just a beautiful inside and out, a European lady. And she told me, I'm going to get you the cover. And I believed her, and she did.
Yes. I guess because she's European, she didn't have the history of racism. They have racism in Europe too.
Yes.
But her frame of mind was like, why not?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, for her to leave Eileen Ford and open up that agency, you knew she was a very strong, courageous lady. And I don't know, for some odd reason, I just felt like she could get that cover for me. And she did.
She did. So tell us, how did it start? Were you already, when you were young, thinking, I'll be a model?
Oh my goodness, no. There was no, like, you're pretty, you're not pretty in our family. We were a close-knit family. I'm the middle of 5 siblings. And actually, I was really kind of, the ugly duckling in a sense. It's just tall and skinny and flat-chested. And not a lot of guys are like saying, oh, I want that bone over there, And my sisters had all the boyfriends, but I was very occupied in my studies and on an all-girl swim team, all-black swim team. And I was very much into that. And we competed all over the tri-state area. And of course, we were the first all-black swim team because a lot of black people didn't swim at that time. But it was really taught me a lot about being competitive and
winning and losing.
Winning and losing.
How to take defeat.
How do you take defeat? And also about practice, about discipline.
Hard work.
Yeah, we would swim before we went to school in the morning, and that's in Buffalo. I mean, there were no hair dryers, okay? Your hair is wet when you leave. And we would practice after school. And I just love that kind of focus. And I brought that in everything I did, like my schoolwork, I just had to make A's. I mean, I was just one of those kind of hyper-focused people.
Yes. Type A.
Yes.
You have to win or have to get there.
Yeah, it's just, I was just born that way. And also education was really stressed in my family. Everyone had to go to college. As a matter of fact, I think I'm the only one that never graduated from college, besides my parents.
Because of the career? Because
of the career, and because that my father worked in a steel plant, and we had a home, which was unusual. We lived in an all-white neighborhood. I don't know how they got that home, but that's a long story. But and the price of living was going up, and his wages were staying the same. And I knew they were stressed for money. And when that opportunity came up, it was just really kind of like out of the blue. My mother made me work in a clothing boutique because all I had was sweats and things to go to college with. And of course, I wanted to work at the lifeguard at Beaver Island for the summer. And she says, no, you have to work in this clothing store so you can get clothes to go to college. And it was this woman, Mimi, that was there that kept saying, you should be a model. And I was like, excuse me, I'm going to be a lawyer. Thank you very much. And then she wrote a number down. So when I went off to school, and I was so homesick.
You went to school in?
Boston.
Boston, okay.
And I wanted to go away to school. I wanted to go way, way, way to school. So I went to school in Massachusetts. I thought that was on the other side of the world. I was so homesick. And the girls that were in the A crowd, right, because I never was in the A crowd, got tired of hearing me cry on the phone to my parents because I was so homesick. So they said, we'll take you underneath our wing. And they showed me about the soap operas, the television shows and which to watch and really where my classes were because I couldn't find it. I mean, I had never been in a place that was so large before. So they really showed me around. So it was one of those girlfriends, and she was from New York. Her name was Beverly, too, Beverly Gamble. in Brooklyn, New York. And it was those girlfriends that said, why don't you become a model? Because I was working at the YWCA, making part-time for $28 a week. And I was like, what is this model thing? And then I remembered Mimi had given me this number to call.
And you kept it.
I kept it. It was just in my wallet. I mean, I was trying to be respectful. Oh, Mimi, thank you very much. But I was thinking, she's not well. I'm going to college to be a lawyer.
Yes.
So it was that kind of thing. And then I told my mom and my dad that Mimi had given me this telephone number, and my mother's listening and everything. My father said, absolutely not. No, it doesn't even exist. I said, Mom, I'm looking at this magazine. It looks kind of legitimate, Dad. He was like, no, there's no way, And my mom and I, we went to New York, and we called that woman that Mimi told us to call. And that's just how it all began.
And that's how it began. And how old were you then?
I was 17 going on 18.
Wow.
I graduated high school at 16.
And you immediately became cover of?
No, I wasn't
Not yet.
covering anything.
Okay.
So immediately, that's when she called Harry Belafonte in to the shop. It was this very exclusive shop. It's called Jack's, J-A-X, on 5th Avenue and 57th Street. And so she made the call to Glamour Magazine, and then I had the appointment with Glamour Magazine. And they took me on a job, on a 10-day trip. That's the first job I had, 10-day trip in Fire Island with this photographer. Ugh. But anyways, he was tough. But it worked out to be a 10-page spread. But then after that, I still went back to school. Fortunately, I was at Northeastern University. It's a 5-year school. And 4 of those years, you do work study. You work a semester and you go to school a semester. So I went back to school, of course. And then they were calling me to do jobs. So then I had to go to my professor with the magazine that I did over the summer and the $300 check in my hand. I went to my dean and I said, because I was supposed to work at like a precinct or something. And I asked him, could I possibly model for my work semester? He said, oh, let me get this straight. You want to be a lawyer, but you want to work as a model? And I was like, yeah, I know this check. And he was like,
You saw the $300 check.
He said, that's a lot of money. I said, yeah, I know. I'm just torn. I don't know. I was just thinking maybe you might let me model my work semester. And he said, yes.
He said yes.
And if he had said no, I don't know if I would have left.
Oh, my God. Yes, and the rest is history.
And the rest.
Because I know that Glamour had you on the cover for more than 20 times.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worked a lot for Glamour Magazine. And Glamour Magazine, being a part of Condé Nast, kept all of the other magazines alive. Like Vogue was alive because of Glamour Magazine, because it was so well read.
Okay. So when you were on Glamour as a front cover, were you also the first black?
No.
No. Okay.
No, they had other
women,
models
yes.
on the cover. And also on 17, it was a model named Joyce Walker. I was just look at her, and she was a black young lady, and she was on the cover. And no, Glamour had not a lot of black models, but black models.
They have placed it on.
Yeah.
That's why you had to break through Vogue.
Yes.
Yeah, but you, as I said, you said that's the #1 magazine. It's not whether it's black or white, but it's the #1, and you want to get there.
You're right. I needed that to win the gold medal or to win the Oscar. You needed that.
Yes.
That magazine.
Yes.
And they were very, elitist magazine, and I knew I needed that, so that's what I was striving for.
Right. So how was that very first photo op, or but you didn't know you were going to be on the cover.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So it was just anytime you're working for Vogue, it's a great experience. It's the most beautiful clothing and jewelry, and it's an education in itself, and the best photographers. And with Francesco Scavulo, it's really interesting because different photographers see you in different ways, right? And Francesco Scavulo really saw me, I thought. I loved his pictures of me. And we were doing that shoot with Way Bandy, who was like the greatest makeup artist probably that ever lived. And Suga did the hair. and it was a magical shoot, but it was just a shoot. I mean, if I got a beauty spread or, just doing editorial, I had no idea that one of those photographs would end up being the cover.
And you were surprised because you were not told.
No. No. And I didn't know until I was on the cover. I mean, I didn't get the phone call from Wilhelmina until it was on the stands.
Wow. Yes. And how was that? Tell us about that.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It was really a highlight in my life. I mean, it really was very exciting. And it was a pretty picture because you never knew how your picture was going to turn out. Some of the photographers, it was like hit and miss, really. But I thought it was really a really pretty picture. So when I saw it,
Where did you see it?
I saw it on the newsstand. It was
You had to go.
Yeah, I
downstairs.
had to go and run to the newsstand.
Who told you?
Wilhelmina called me that morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. And, everyone's going to work and everybody's lining up to buy their cigarettes at the newsstand. And, I'm waiting in line, and it was wrapped around. It was a wraparound banner. So it was like, holy moly, Mom, I can't believe it. And I couldn't wait to get the magazine in my hand. And that's when I realized I had forgotten my money at home, and I was like trying to convince the guy to give it to me. I'm live right around the corner. I promise you I'll bring the money. He was like, no, lady, I don't think so.
He wouldn't give you he won't give you credit.
No, he wouldn't give me credit. And I remember going to this phone booth and calling my mom and collect. That's when you could call collect.
Yes,
they take and I'm like screaming on the phone. She's going, what's going on? What's going on? I said, no, this is happy. This is good news. So she's screaming now. Well, what is the good news? And I said, I want to cover Vogue. She said, oh, is that good? I said, yeah, it's excellent, Mom. And so then she started, screaming and celebrating with me. It was just really good time.
74, so that's almost 40 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be 50 years.
50 years.
Because that came out in August.
Right.
So technically, it'll be 50 years this August.
Yes.
But I decided I'm going to celebrate the 50th anniversary starting 2024 in January. So.
Right. And you're being this one woman show.
Yes.
That you have.
Yes.
At the theater was just marvelous.
Thank you.
And was that how did you find that whole experience? Because it's the first time you did a monologue.
Yes. And the first time that I've been on stage solo like that, I did one other play. It was I just really knew that the gentleman that helped me write it, we worked together, we shared it. He was a very big one-person writer for shows and plays. He did Carrie Fisher's Wishful Drinking, which was tremendous, and Dick Van Dyke's one-man show, and so on and so forth. So he knew how to put it together, and we were best friends because he had put me in a play years before, and we just started working on it.
Yes. And what would you say on the last day? How was, it's the last day that you're going to perform. How was that?
I was very excited about the last day, and I had a great day the day before, and all I said, I would just want to really enjoy this moment, and that my whole object was to let people have fun and enjoy the experience with me, and it happened. It was really, I think it was,
the audience enjoyed it.
Yes, they did. They were laughing in the right places, and then they were sad in the right places, and then it just totally worked. And I had a little tissue,
just in case.
I didn't know, when I was talking about some really deep personal tribulations in my life, that whether I would just because I hold it back every night. Mm-hmm. You know what I enjoyed the most about the show?
Yes.
was seeing my mother and father's picture up. And this picture that we had, like we were at a picnic ground, and there were, my siblings and I, except for my baby brother, he came really late, so he wasn't there. But to be able to see my parents and the house I grew up in, and it just took me back there, and the swim team, and, I made people pick me out in the picture because people never believe you when you say you were ugly duckling until they see that picture and they go, oh, she was. We get it now. But I enjoyed that part.
Mm-hmm. What part what is that the part that made you cry?
No, the part that made me cry was, the ex-husband who was a kind of ruthless kind of guy that, that I had no business being with, but, you
were young.
You're young and you think they have everything and, and you're in a business that you're old in 4 or 5 years. So I settled, and he was a pretty ruthless guy. And
did you stay married long?
No, it was only 2 years. But the whole thing was that I had seen his other siblings, and it was like 20 years or 25 years older than me, and where he never paid attention to his children. And they were all kind of like messed up. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, if we plan this child together, you're going to be in this child's life. That was my whole thing. So then it became a power struggle. He was like, I was telling him what to do. So he said, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take her from you.
Oh, my God.
And he did.
You lost the case in the family court?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's tough. That's tough.
It was really tough by a woman.
Yes.
But we understand what happened in that case. But
Yes.
big lesson.
Yes. Did you ever recover her?
Yes. It was just a game. I mean, he was like away in London for a year, and she was just with the nannies and everything. And I was there every day.
So you kept in touch with your daughter, even if
I
the
lived
court.
10 blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
I lived 10 blocks away. I was there every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But, mostly when he was there, he wanted me, introduce me to his girlfriends. You think she could be a model? I mean, he's just really, I put up with a lot just to be with my child.
Yes, yes.
And then I knew when he was gone for about a year, and he was running from I don't know what, and she was just there with the nannies, and I just, finally I asked her, I said, would you like to come live with me? She said, yeah, Mom, I really would, because, we go back and forth from my house to her house. And then I said, well, you're going to have to tell your dad. She said, no, can't you tell him? I said, no, you're going to have to tell him.
Yes, yes.
And she said, I want to live with my mother. And he went, okay. It was just all a
Yes, he wanted to punish you.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes,
And he did.
yes, yes.
That he did. So then,
So you've been together ever since?
yes.
Yes, and how is she now?
She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And she has 4 children. I knew she was going to have a lot of children because my mother was an only child, and she had 5 of us. So I said,
This is your only daughter.
yeah. And I knew, and she wasn't her father's only child, but she was like an only child.
For you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and for herself, because she never dealt with her siblings, her
Mm-hmm.
brothers, because he wouldn't welcome them into the family. So I just knew she was going to have a lot of kids.
So you have grandchildren.
Yeah, and so I have 4 grandchildren and 2 bonus grandchildren because she's remarrying, and there's 6 kids in the house from 14 to 5. It's noisy, and only 1 girl. And it's joyous. It's just amazing, and it's amazing how they all love each other, and it's just the best time of my life for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. You said that was 40 years ago, 50 years ago, but you look like you're still in your 20s.
Yeah,
So
right.
can you share with the audience, what are your age-defying techniques? How do you look so young and so thin?
Right. Well, once I realized from my sister, who was a therapist, And I was like, I'm going to retire and I'm going to be able to do whatever I want. And I'm going to be able to eat whatever I want. She said, oh, that sounds good. But you still want to look good, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. She said, so really nothing's really going to change. I said, really? She says, no, nothing's going to change because you're going to still take care of yourself. You still want to look good. And once I got over that, I realized she was right. And also, I was really curious about the business. I was really curious about skincare and hair care and all those things that I had learned. And I kind of went into that business.
Yes, could you tell us how because really everybody is saying it's growing old. How do you remain young when you're older?
Yeah, so I think it's for women really taking the time for themselves. I mean, really making yourself a priority. And as women, we're natural givers, and we give, and we come last. But what I realize is that when I'm happy, I can make other people happy. And since it was kind of like mixing with my business, so it was my business to know what the new products were, what the new, treatments were, exercises, diet, everything you can think of. It became a way of life for me.
So is that a business that you have now?
Yes, I do. I represent a cosmetic line, and I'm going to be, I represented like the #1 wig and hair extension line in the nation. And this was before I was wearing hair extensions. I was just something in my gut told me, this is a good deal, And it was a licensing deal. So, which is really sweet because you just get checks, if the business does well, and it just really just shot up there. And so I do a lot of licensing deals.
Great. Can you just tell the audience your beauty regimen when you wake up, because as I said, everybody is serious about how do I look younger when I'm older?
Yes. I think for one, I'm fortunate enough to have one of the best facialists, definitely in the state of California. She's just really just in on all of the new techniques and machines, boop, 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 bling, whistles, whatever it's doing, I'm like, do it. And then I met this dermatologist, also in the desert, who is really very skilled and very much on the cutting edge of all of the Botox and fillers and the all those machines and whatever it is. And so you keep a little routine with her. I do Pilates, which I think is great because it's long, lean muscles instead of like really building, when I used to do a lot of weightlifting and everything, and you get kind of
bulky.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted those long, lean muscles. And so she's been just brilliant. And
how about diet?
So I have this new kind of diet that I'm working on with this woman who kind of created it. But I didn't know she's my therapist, but I didn't know she worked with people that had eating problems. And her method is called pleasure eating. So she said, I'm sorry I never discussed this with you because, sometimes I like binge on candy. I'm like a real candy person, like not like luxury candy, like Tootsie Rolls, like candy from my childhood. It's the kind of candy I like. And so,
comfort food.
Comfort food. And what happens is with pleasure eating, you think about what you want to eat. Okay, when you think about what you want to eat and what you really are desiring, say it's like that brie cheese I saw in your other room there. So it's in my mind, and you actually salivate when you're thinking about it. So say I'm really, and Europeans do this. I really feel like a lobster, and they go and they get a lobster. And you're eating it, and your taste buds are dancing because they're getting what they want. But the cue is, when your taste buds stop dancing, you should stop eating.
Wow.
So you're full.
Does it happen? Yeah, when you're full.
Right, and emotionally full, and everything. So what I don't know about other people, what Americans do, you keep chasing the high. So what drug addicts do, they keep chasing that first high. You'll never get it back. And that's what they keep chasing, that, that dance that was going on in their mouths. And then you just continue to eat, thinking you're going to get there, but you never get there. So that's been very rewarding, because you never feel like you're missing anything. And you can have just about anything you want. And it's amazing how you start to think about really healthy things, because it gives your body a chance to, God, I really feel like a really good salad, instead of, just cheating and eating and binging and all of that. So pleasure eating.
So but it requires discipline. That once, as you said, once the pleasure in your mouth stops, it's just to stop. So that's discipline.
Yes, it's discipline in a way, or it's more of an emotional connection with yourself and what, and that other part of yourself that says, whether it's, oh, I love this person, or I don't feel good around this. I mean, it's really your instincts more than a discipline. It'll become a discipline if you actually stop, when you're full, or not when you're really full, but when your taste buds stop dancing. It's really interesting, because one of the things that she said is that you're not a garbage disposal.
That's a good one.
You don't have to eat everything on your plate.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You can wrap it up and save it for another time if you want it, but you don't have to eat everything on your plate.
Okay. You remember that? Okay. You are not a garbage disposal. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Now, this one is a personal question, because we'll wrap this up. I hope you don't mind. How's your love life?
Oh, oh my gosh. I'm blushing. So my honey, Brian Milan, we've been together. He says 12 years. I say 13. But anyways, who's counting? And
Together. You've been together
We've been together for 13 years.
Yes.
And it's been wonderful. And he's the kind of man that always wants to give you these big gifts for your birthday, or surprise birthday parties and all that. And okay. So it was my birthday coming up. Not a big birthday or anything like that. And he's going, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for... So literally, the day before my birthday, I wake up and I'm sitting up in bed, and he wakes up. He's going, what's going on? I said, I think I know what I want for my birthday. He said, what? I said, I want to get married. And he said, okay. I said, okay? Then I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. Did he just say okay? And so now I know I have I'm like, okay, I just got myself into something. How are we going to do it? We both were like, okay, we're getting married. We're like, and we got to do it on your birthday, and it's the day before your birthday. I said, oh, I know, my girlfriend Lynette and Bob in Vegas. She'll help us. Of course, she went to arrange everything. I got the thing and this. You got to get your license at this time. So we're driving to Vegas. I'll never forget.
It's a 3-hour drive.
It's a 3-hour drive in the back canyons where there's nobody there. If your car breaks down, you'll be out of luck. And we're quiet. We're not saying one word.
One might change their mind, his mind, your mind.
Right. And I'm saying, we're probably going to get in a fight. This is not going to happen. Whatever. Something's going to happen. It went all the way up to when the lady said, and who has the ring? I said, oh, that's right. We don't have a ring. Brian said, we don't have a ring. And my girlfriend, she rips her big diamond off. I have the ring. And we were like, oh, okay. We're going through with this.
Yes. The universe contrives. Yes.
And it's been the best, I think, spiritual thing I've ever done. I think, being baptized and all that is one of the great spiritual pleasures or whatever. But I think this union was really something very magical for both of us.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
It is.
That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Love is in the air.
Yes, it is.
Especially, yes. When it's time, it's time.
It's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you.
That's what you wanted for your birthday, and you
Yes,
got it.
I got it.
That's terrific. One of the questions that was sent in was, who is your role model?
I can't just pick one. That's the
Maybe in different stages of your life?
different stages of my life. I remember when I started modeling and someone gave me the book of the 4 fabulous faces. Because remember, I didn't know anything about anything. These were the 4 fabulous beauties. It was Greta Garbo, Joan Crawford, I think it was Betty Davis, and one other, I can't remember. Oh, and so they became the faces and became my role models to enter into the beauty world. And then as things went on, I was introduced to the arts. I never went to an opera or a ballet, so then I started to have, famous singers as my idol, or I remember one ballerina named Deborah Gregory was my idol. I remember her doing like 91 pirouettes down at it was just like, so I started having those great artists as my role model, and then artists as my role model, and then as I come up, I started having political people be my role model, particularly women, and women of color, because I can just imagine what it took for them to get to that place, and now having Kamala Harris, as Vice President of the United States, I would most certainly, she's one of my role models.
Lovely. What are the changes in your life since you became famous?
That's a great question. I have a girlfriend where we were born in the same hospital. We live next door to each other. We've been best friends since the day we were born, and we were the same age. And she had letters that I used to pass to her on the bus, right? We used to pass each other notes. And she gave me a note, because she collects everything, right? She has my mannequins in her attic. I mean, it's like, ooh, it's spooky, actually. But I read the note and it said, "Hi, he didn't speak to me, but I know he likes me. But I'm getting ready to ace this test anyways. I'll talk to you later after school." I'm the same person.
That's wonderful.
I'm the same person.
Yes.
And she says she's the same person as she was.
That's terrific. Do you have any regrets in the career path that you have chosen?
I don't have any regrets, but I do regret not graduating from college.
Well,
I really do.
Well, you have company, because Mark Zuckerberg never did, neither did Steve Jobs.
Right.
Yes, and even Microsoft. What's his name now? He's the one who those they never. They're all. I think Harvard,
Right.
and they never graduated. So that's really
Wow.
no.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they're not. Those are. I mean, yes.
I don't
For
know.
for all the rest, if you are not Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, graduate.
Yes. Absolutely.
Or Beverly Johnson, because she made it without graduating from college.
But a lot of models, they still went to college and they graduated. I was just.
But it was there. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is that the opportunity was there, and you have to take
Yes,
it, grab
I
it
did.
while it's
I
there.
did.
Yes.
Thank you.
But nobody knows. Nobody really matters. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
You reach success.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So everybody, this is Beverly Johnson, role model through the ages. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Beverly, for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Well, before we end, Beverly, would you have any advice, one or two, to those who are aspiring to be like you?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, by doing this show, a lot of models came to the show, and I was able to speak with them, and I mentor a lot of models, young models. And one of the things that I try to stress, if you can go to college, if you could do it online, any way you can do it, you need to do it. And then if you want to be a model, just go do it. Don't doubt yourself, just go full steam ahead. And don't let any criticism or anybody's opinion stop you from where you want to go.
There you go. All right. For those aspiring models, or really just in your life, if there's something you want to do, Beverly has said it. Just go for it. Don't doubt yourself. Besides, if you fail, so what?
Right.
Go again.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this is Loida Lewis podcast. Live, love, laugh, and learn with me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Loida Lewis podcast, hosted by Loida Lewis, is produced by the creators of Over a Glass or Two, Jesse and JV. Executive produced by Loida Nicolas Lewis. Rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for a chance to be featured on a future episode. Have a question for Miss Loida? Just email us on askloidalewis@gmail.com. Your question might make its way to a future episode. Subscribe on all major platforms to never miss a beat. Thank you for listening to the Loida Lewis podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together